Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Blue Sky Lounge. I'm your host, Tyler Iantkow. Walt Disney said, "I only hope we don't lose sight of one thing, that it all started with a mouse. Had it not been for that small, charismatic little mouse named Mickey, we would not have other characters in the Disney family." Mickey and his cartoons helped give Imagineers ideas about lands like Toontown in the parks. Our guest today is Alex Beavis, a longtime Disney and Roger Rabbit fan. Today, he and I are going to discuss a new concept for Toontown, not only centered around the Fab Five, but other Disney characters as well. Please welcome Alex to the show. All right, so we have Alex Beavis with us. Alex Beavis and I are good friends. We've known each other for years. I don't know how long. We both started working in the Disney store, where he was my manager. We worked in Disney World together at Le Cellier, in Epcot, and have just kind of been by each other's side. We had the same starting date, which was really funny. But yeah, so Alex, kind of give me a little bit of background about yourself. Tell everybody what your background in Disney is.
So I'm a lifelong Disney fan, and I've always loved it. Just kind of been a part of my life ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny. So I joined the Disney store thinking, you know what, I'll work here for like 2 weeks, and then I'll ask if I can be transferred to the Disney parks.
Okay.
Then when I talked to my manager and they're like, it doesn't work that way, and I was like, okay.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So then I remember I worked with you, and then you actually had posted something on Facebook about, hey, I'm going down to the parks to work, and I was like, hey, could you get me a job? And
Yeah.
you're like, no, but
I thought that I couldn't.
Yeah.
I just did an interview for it.
Yeah. So you're like, no, but if you go to this website, you can apply. And I applied, and I ended up getting the position. And I didn't even know that me and you, like, our start dates would kind of map in the stars and coordinate together. That was just pure coincidence.
It was very cool. So, and you've had Disney in your life, obviously. I can tell by the posters in the background.
Thank you.
Right now, you're based out of Vancouver.
Yeah.
Right? And there's lots of Disney stuff that goes on there, lots of Disney productions and everything like that, which is awesome. So, as you know, our podcast is about armchair imagineering, blue sky thinking. I asked you to become a guest on the podcast. I said, pick a topic, it's up to you, we'll discuss it, we'll blue sky it, see what you want to come up with. I'll come up with some stuff too. And you came up with the idea of Toontown, and you told me that, and I'm like, man, they already have Toontown, what are you talking about? And then like 2 days ago, you're like, by the way, it's not like your regular Toontown, this was like the Toontown at Hollywood Studios. And I'm like, oh, perfect, that's completely brilliant, I love it. So let's go to town. Toontown.
Okay, so what I was thinking is Rock and Roller Coaster. There's been rumors for years about the contract with Aerosmith being up for like renewal, and are they going to do it? Are they not going to do it? I think when we were down there, there was rumors that Aerosmith was out and Jonas Brothers was in, and I was just
remember
like,
that.
oh yeah. God, it's gonna date it so badly. Like, not that I,
Bros, yes.
Yeah, not that I don't respect the Jonas Brothers, but I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be Teen Pop Central, and like, I don't know, I just
all these
wasn't
screaming girls.
Yeah, like I just was like, okay, great, like not really excited.
Yeah.
But then, and recently they've put the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy down by that area of the park as well. And I was just like, from what I've never seen it because it wasn't there the last time I was there, but like I've heard it's like a black box area where they could turn anything. Yeah. And then I thought that back in the day, that was where Toontown was supposed to be when they were first doing Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
And this is kind of my ideas / restructuring the ideas that they had.
Yeah.
So I thought what you could do is you could turn the Rock and Roller Coaster into the Toontown trolley that they originally were going to do.
That would be
cool.
And
then you could have Roger, because the original idea for Toontown trolley was going to be what Star Tours became.
Yes.
and they were going to have Roger driving the bus, and then you were going to go on this fantastic ride.
Yeah.
And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if Roger was driving the Rock and Roller Coaster or the Toontown trolley?
Oh my goodness.
And then you would be going through all the twists and turns, and you could do all those classic jokes.
Inverted loops and
and inverted loops, and then you could include it, especially because Roger was originally supposed to be the icon of that park, and he was for a lot of years, but then he kind of slowly started disappearing, which is a much bigger topic. But like, but I thought, like, if you included that, so that would be the one ride. And then in terms of a quick service restaurant, what I thought would be cool is you have the terminal bar from the movie, where you could have like a quick service, like grab and go type thing. And because in Hollywood studios they allow alcoholic beverages there, you could have somewhere for people just to relax, have a beer, like just kind of. And then you could kind of incorporate some of the characters from Roger Rabbit, like you could include some of like the waiter penguins, or like you could include the octopus that behind the bar, and like
do like an animatronic octopus or something.
Like, and have him like kind of serve the drinks, kind of like, and then you could have like, even if you want to walk around characters, you could have like a Judge Doom come through the bar, like looking for Roger, or you could have, or you could have like some like a Dolores type character, like, and Eddie in the background. And even the things with the walls in the bar, you could have like I don't know if you remember the scene where Roger's eyes are through the peephole. But you could have that like randomly placed throughout the restaurant, which I think would be cool.
That would be so much fun. I love that. Now, where would you put like it? So we're talking about Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood Studios and Rock and Roller Coaster Tower of Terror area. Where would you put this this quick service place?
Probably where Lightning McQueen, right back there.
So you're just thinking just in the Rock and Roller Coaster area.
Like just contain it into its own land.
Gotcha.
Because the thing about the film though too is that Toontown was kind of like separated into its own land, right? So you could almost like, because I know there's like a walkway from Tower of Terror to Rock and Roller Coaster now. So you could almost like build a tunnel, and that would be the tunnel going into Toontown, which I think would be cool.
That would be very cool.
And then I think which would be cool too, and because there's so much space back there too, because I think it's just cast member parking back there, like so you could almost expand on that too, because the third thing I thought you could do, and this would incorporate new stuff, is you could almost build like a Toontown theater where you see some of these shorts on Disney Plus, and you could do like little screenings.
Kind of like what they did for like the Pixar movies and stuff in Epcot. Where in the Imagination Pavilion. And then you could, but my only difference between that is I would actually change the shorts up every once in a while, not have the same 3 for the last 2 years. But then you could do that, and you could change it up, and you could use it almost as a preview center for upcoming Disney movies too. Toontown is I would put a Toontown theater there where you could show the different clips. You could even show the Roger Rabbit shorts in there too, to kind of from a trouble and
trail mix up, and and actually they could even relate it back to Florida, because I think you know this, but just in case you don't, is Roller Coaster Rabbit was actually animated in Florida at the MGM Studios when it was a work.
Because it was a working animation studio.
And I remember I was there, not when they were doing that one, but like I remember when they were doing Mulan, and it was just so cool to see working animators doing the studio. And I know that's probably not possible now, like with COVID and but it'd be interesting if they could debut new shorts and like, I don't know, almost use it as a training ground for new animators and show different shorts.
That would be very, very cool. Awesome. I love it. So my blue sky thinking, when you were telling me this, you told me kind of like Sunset Boulevard, kind of by Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm like, okay, like I see it. I know the history used to be that when you're walking down Sunset Boulevard, if you look down on the ground, there are like trolley tracks on the ground, and that was supposed to be for like a Toontown trolley that kind of went up and down the street that you could ride on, similar to Toontown in Disneyland. So I know that that's there. And when I was doing my research about it, I read that the original concept was supposed to be, there was supposed to be a Roger Rabbit ride, there was supposed to be a Judge Doom ride, and there was supposed to be a Baby Herman ride. And I don't know a lot about it. I know that the Roger Rabbit one was supposed to be like the trolley, similar to Star Tours. I love the idea of the trolley for the Rock and Roller Coaster. The one thing that I was thinking was, what if you had it as a Benny the Cab ride?
That is cool. Yeah,
so
definitely.
If you change like all of the stretch limo cars to Benny the Cab stretch limos.
Yeah.
And then like you change the inside of it so that like maybe you're chasing the weasels through Toontown, and you're in Benny the Cab, and they have like video screens of the weasels like driving away, and you're chasing the weasels. I think that would be a really cool, fun, exhilarating ride or attraction to kind of get the adrenaline going. And you can have like, you know, those quirky little like jingles going on, like dun 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 thing.
Well, you'd be mixing Disney history with a thrill ride, which I think is the important thing.
Yeah.
And just I don't know the when you're researching, when you're saying the Baby Herman ride, what that was supposed to be was a Baby Herman baby buggy ride. And what that was supposed to be was you would get inside baby, you would go through the queue, and you would hear over the speakers Baby Herman saying, "I'm not doing that stunt. Like, get my stunt double to do it." And so you would be the stunt double, and they would put on baby bonnets on your head, and you would ride in this stroller through the hospital scene in Tummy Trouble.
Okay.
And that would be it would be a dark ride, but you would go through it. Yeah. And then Disney's thinking was that this was when they were just starting the photo thing at the end of each of the rides.
Okay.
And so they would sell all these photos of people in baby bonnets and like and that was their thinking.
Yeah. Maybe not the most flattering picture, but
yeah. Well, and then the other thing I thought too, to kind of go back into what we could put in that land, is I think because I don't know if you remember in Pleasure Island they had Jessica's of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it was a merchandise store for adulter stuff. Yeah. And but they could have like a merchandise store of kind of different Toon stuff. Yeah. And like stuff like Disney Junior, not Disney Junior, sorry, but like Disney Toon stuff.
Okay.
Like some Mickey Mouse stuff, Roger Rabbit stuff.
Yeah.
They can include whatever's coming, like in terms of shorts.
Yeah.
And then I thought too, the other thing too is you could have walk around characters of Roger, Jessica, Judge Doom, the Weasels would be another one. And I think it would be cool too, because I believe Jessica does still appear in Disneyland Paris from time to time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I've seen videos of her at Disneyland Paris because I think they had a stage show with Roger for the longest time.
Okay.
Where it was like she was doing her nightclub act.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, if this was a hit, what I really thought would be cool is if you had an ink and paint club further on in the background where you could have like a dinner theater stage show.
Yeah.
And you could do something like, because I know there's rumors about them taking Beauty and the Beast out and replacing it.
Yeah.
Because I think they were thinking about Frozen. Which,
it's been on the talks for a while, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. But you could almost rotate that stage show in the Ink and Paint Club and do like different. Because I know, like, for me, I've never been on a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
So I would love to see some of those shows, like the Villains Tonight show that they had.
Yes.
I know they had Toy Story the musical was on there, which I've never seen.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Very cool. Did you have any ideas for like a sit-down restaurant, like a full-service restaurant?
I would say the Ink and Paint Club would be the sit-down dinner theater one.
Yeah.
If you really, you could put into it like, even if you had like a Roger Rabbit, like Toontown restaurant, like something that was in Toontown. There wasn't a lot in the film per se, but like you could even do like almost like a pizza parlor type thing with Roger and his buddies, or like I haven't seen the script for, because there's been numerous attempts at sequels to Roger
Mhm.
Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw the Alan Menken released a YouTube video where because he was pegged to do the songs for the Roger Rabbit sequel.
Okay.
Yeah, it was called Who Discovered Roger Rabbit, and it would be like before Roger Rabbit got his start at the studios.
Oh, okay. So it'd be like a prequel almost.
Prequel, yeah.
Yeah.
So I like if there was something in that old script that like maybe they could do like a, because it was like gonna be like where Roger Rabbit was a like a country bumpkin, and
Okay.
then he gets discovered and like
Okay.
kinda, so like almost like a family pizza parlor or something, or even like a family bistro.
Yeah. That'd be very cool. I like it. I like it. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Now, with your Toontown, obviously it's a big Roger Rabbit-centric based area. Would you want to include other franchises in there as well? Like, would you include like the Fab Five, Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, Donald, or would you just keep it Roger Rabbit? Would you bring in different ones? What would be your premise be?
My theory would be kind of what the Toontown is in Disneyland plus Roger Rabbit. So like you could have Mickey coming there and like Minnie and like kind of rotating characters.
Yeah.
And then you could have like a different kind of, depending on which movie was coming out, like a different set of characters coming in to promote it.
That would be cool.
So like Soul is coming out in December, well, as far as we know, December of this year. You could have like the Soul characters coming in and doing appearances, and like, because that's set in a, to my understanding, set in a New York type based atmosphere. Yeah, so you could have them coming in and like doing appearances, and then because like I think what would be cool with this is you could have an area where you could not only have the Disney Pass, like the Fab Five and Horsecollar and like Clarice and all them, but you could also have an area where it's dedicated to new stuff, where they kind of take it down, and because I know they had that kind of in the animation building. The last time I checked, it's mostly Star Wars now. But again, I haven't been there since Galaxy's Edge has opened. So I don't know if it's both Star Wars now or like.
The last time I was there was last summer, like literally days before Galaxy Edge opened, and it was still Star Wars launch bay. It was still Star Wars base. You could meet the Star Wars characters there. But I'm not sure since it opened. As far as I know, it's still launch bay. But I don't know as much about meeting Star Wars characters. So, but we'd have to see.
Because when we were there, it was animation building, and they did the Animation Academy and stuff like that. And then you had a revolving meet and greet for different characters depending on what the film was. So when we first started there, it was Lotso Huggenbear, or Lotso, and then it turned to Winnie the Pooh midway through because of the Winnie the Pooh movie coming out. And then last time I was there was Baymax and Hero. And then I remember Vanellope and Ralph were there. So like you could do that in Toontown, where you have a rotating like almost like like you could build a studio per se, where you have like hey, these guys are taking a break from their production. Why don't they like take a picture while they're on their lunch break or something like that?
That's awesome. I love it. And then and then they can go back into production when they have to leave. I love it. That's very cool. Awesome. I love that idea so much. It's so retro, and there is such a niche, I feel, for older characters like that people today don't understand what the admiration is almost for those characters.
Well, I think sometimes it's the next big thing. Like, okay, we've got Frozen. What's the next big thing? And like before Frozen, it was Stitch, and then before Stitch, it was princesses. And like, I just think like if we can do an area where we can do the old with the new, I think that would be helpful in terms of like where this all come from, because Disney is one of the best companies at honoring their legacy. Like, I know we'll get into it in a bit, but like part of the reasons I love these videos is because like I can look at something like a video and like, okay, this spawned this spawned that. And like I just actually put up a post today about bonus videos, because I was like just searching around. I was like, wouldn't it be cool about Disney's history with McDonald's and Disney's history with this, and like kind of just spawning, because there's so much material there that I think that it would be neat to have an area in the park where you could do the older stuff and know some of the older characters, and then spawn it off into the newer stuff too.
100%. Cool. All right, so we do have to start wrapping up, so I will give your page a plug. You do have the Disney Movie Investigation YouTube channel where you do essentially movie reviews of movies on Disney Plus, and my understanding is you're going in alphabetical order.
Yes. So what I did, because I thought if I just like start picking random ones, I would like be skewed to what I would like, and not watch the ones that I didn't like.
Fair enough.
So I just decided, okay, there's a tab on there that says Disney movies A to Z, and I was like, okay, click, and then I was able to skip in alphabetical order. So I'm doing movies that I actually like. Some of them I haven't seen, like the Disney Channel movies. And then the funny thing is, it's almost an ongoing process, because I got down to like after Alice in Wonderland, and then Disney added this 27 Dresses movie. I was like, okay, I got to go back and do that one. And then they added the pre-Disneyland report thing. Or the pre-Disneyland report thing, which I don't know why, just on a side tangent, why it's in the A's, because it has no A, like, anyways. But now I got to go back to that. And then sometimes, and I know it's an ever-growing system, but sometimes like I was looking to make sure I got them all, and I was like, you know what, A Bug's Life isn't on the A section, but it's in the B section. But then I got moved to the A section, and I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I got to make, I like almost daily, I kind of count. I was like, okay, have I done them all? Like, and then it leads to bonus videos too, because I just started doing, I tried it with this last video with 27 Dresses, because like, as good or bad as 27 Dresses is, there's not a lot really to talk about, because it's like, this is the movie, nothing really happened afterwards. Have a nice day.
There's 27 dresses. It says it in the title.
So I was like, why don't I start adding little Disney stories? Because then I can do stuff like the one I did for 27 Dresses was about how the voice of Mickey and Minnie fell in love and actually became married, and I thought that was really cool. That's a little side story. And then the next video I'm doing is a James Cameron documentary called Aliens of the Deep. So a really cool documentary, but again, not really a lot to divulge into there without like going, because the other thing is I try not to do movie reviews like per se, like is it this was bad, this was good, this was because there's so many of those out there, like and not that I consider myself a movie fan, but I'm not a movie expert by any means, so who am I to criticize somebody else's work? So I tend to like just focus on how the movie got made, what like kind of little hidden stories, and then what the future is of the movie. So like, for example, when I did Alice in Wonderland, I was like, okay, Walt started with Alice and then made the Alice in Wonderland movies, and then the presents in the theme park, and then the Alice Adventures in Wonderland TV show. So kind of the different facets of how these movies relate. So yeah, please feel free to check out the YouTube video, as well as my Facebook page as well. If you guys are like, if your listeners have any ideas of things you really want to know, like please just write a comment, and I'll definitely do my best to research it. For sure. And then once a month we also do bonus polls to do non-Disney movies, just because we want to expand the universe as much as possible.
There are other movie production companies out there.
I know, and some of them actually end up relating back to Disney, because we just did, I just did a Shrek video, and I was able to relate how the kind of the cheap shots that Jeffrey Katzenberg was doing at Disney in that video in Shrek, as well as for those of you that haven't seen the video, Jeffrey Katzenberg actually released Shrek on the day that Monsters Inc. came out in theaters, as a way to take away from Monsters Inc. And like, they're like, why go to the theaters when you could just buy Shrek at home? And like, so I find it interesting that we're doing other movies, but it's also relating back to Disney as well. Very cool.
All right. Well, Alex Beavis, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, if you're up to it, we can do this again one day.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to be back. So
perfect. We will talk, and we'll get you back, and we'll do some more blue sky thinking.
All right. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks again, Alex, for your awesome ideas. Now let's hear from you, the fans, about what ideas you would like to see in Toontown. Sabrina Adams suggested, I think that there should definitely be a DuckTales area. At D23 a few years ago, they did a Scrooge McDuck money pit dive, and it looked super fun. Sabrina, I totally agree. I loved watching DuckTales when I was a kid, and having a Scrooge McDuck money pit dive would be amazing. The other cool idea that I thought of when I first read this was, instead of doing necessarily a money pit dive, you could do almost like a trampoline area and have the trampoline pads themselves be printed like Scrooge McDuck's money. Another cool idea would be to have a PhotoPass experience with Scrooge's Millions that you could have maybe outside the attraction, or maybe at the exit of the attraction as well. But thanks, Sabrina, I love the idea. Graeme suggested making a ride based on Goofy's how-to shorts. He suggested how to build a ride, and there would be a narrator that talks you, the guest, through how to build a ride. Now, when I first heard of this, I instantly thought of an older ride that Disney used to have in Innoventions in Epcot called the Sum of All Thrills. This was a simulator ride where you could go through and create your own roller coaster, and then that roller coaster that you built would then be uploaded into the simulator, and you got to actually ride your roller coaster in that simulator. The nice thing about this is, if you did it as a Goofy's how to build your own ride, every ride would be different because not everybody is going to build the same coaster. And of course, once you're in there, because it is a Goofy's how to build a ride, you would also have to see whether or not your ride actually worked or not, and you would make it to the finish. But Graeme, I love this idea. I think it's hilarious. I think it would be a huge hit in Toontown. Thanks for suggesting that. And lastly, our friend Chloe Hanley, who you might remember from last week's show, suggested retheming a set of bathrooms to that of a Powerline concert from a Goofy movie. Have it all be bright colors like the concert in the movie, with the music from Powerline playing in the background. Now, I also love this idea. I thought it would be really cool to kind of almost mash Graham's idea and Chloe's idea together into one idea, and you could almost have a how to plumb a bathroom, or how to be a plumber idea in this retheming of a bathroom area. So you could have pipes going all over the walls in front of the mirror, so it's blocking your view of the mirror. You would have a pipe going across close to the bottom of the wall just above the sink, and there would be holes in the pipe shooting water out that would be on motion sensors, so that you could wash your hands on those spurts of water instead of there actually being water faucets. You could have rags tied around the pipes trying to pretend to hold leaks in so that it's not leaking everywhere. There would be a little book on the side that says how to plumb or how to be a plumber, and glue and duct tape everywhere, showing as though Goofy's been trying to do plumbing in this bathroom and it's just not working out for him. Thank you, Chloe. I really appreciate this thought. I think it was great. A Goofy movie is one of those movies that you don't really hear a lot of. And especially with Powerline, you don't hear a lot of fans of Powerline, so I really like the idea that you brought that kind of more rare character into the park, so thank you for that. And that's a wrap for this week's show. I'm feeling a lot of 90s love from this week's suggestions. Now, if you could add anything from 90s Disney, what would it be? Just drop me a message or a picture of any of your ideas. Join us next week as our friend Janice talk about Disney's Animal Kingdom, and get your thinking caps on for our show in 2 weeks, when our guest Graeme and I will talk about things Disney could do to help those with special needs. Make sure you share your Blue Sky ideas by emailing me at theblueskylounge@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and also a new social media app called Explory, just by searching the Blue Sky Lounge. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel here on YouTube. Now, please note that this podcast is not affiliated with Disney in any way, shape, or form. This is a fan-run show featuring fan ideas and art that is in no way a representation of what may happen in the future within the Disney company. Now, thank you so much for taking time out of your week to come and join us here at the Blue Sky Lounge. And just remember, think, dream, believe, and dare yourself to use your imagination. Who knows what kind of blue sky thinking you might do from your armchair. Thanks.